Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the channel, Mona's Take. I am Mona Rose. Told you guys starting out that my channel is going to be a little bit different. We're going to be doing reality TV. I'm going to be doing some fishing, some hunting, things of that nature. Tonight, we're going to be making deer breakfast sausage. I love this mixture. I looked all over the internet for some different recipes and things of that nature. And this is the one that I found that I really like. So stay tuned. And we'll be right back. Hi everybody, we're back. I've laid out everything that we're going to need to make our breakfast sausage, just to give you an idea. We do an 60% deer meat, 40% pork butt. You're going to need some spatulas. I love my Pamper Chef spatulas. Use them a lot. A couple of good knives. The gloves are for when we start mixing because it gets really, really cold when you're mixing the meat. A big pan to mix the meat in. You have your deer meat and your pork butt. We just got a new sealer. We've used it a couple of times now. It's a Weston Pro 3000 vacuum sealer. I was using a little cheap Walmart brand for a while, and it finally gave up on me, so we upgraded a little bit and got this one. We're also using the Cabela's grinder. And these I found for the sealer on Amazon. They're already pre-measured in quart and gallon. Makes it real easy when we start packaging up the meat. There's two different brands that we've used. One is the Legs Custom Blend. All of this you can get from Amazon. And the other one is Backwoods. I like both of them equally, but what I have found out is that you need to use 1.5 times whatever it calls for. So if it calls for one package for 25 pounds, we use a package and a half on both of them. That just gives it a little bit more seasoning. Today we're going to be doing the Backwoods.
Alright, and I will put a link to our Amazon affiliate in the description of this video, and we will link all of this stuff as much as I can for if anyone's interested in purchasing these items.
You need a scale.
Very important.
Very important scale. This is my weight pan. And I zero the scale out to it, so whatever meat I put in here, I get an accurate count on. So this is basically what you need to make deer sausage. Now I'm going to clean a little bit of this up, put the deer meat back in the fridge while I cut up the pork butt, and we'll be back. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut up the pork butt. There's no rhyme or reason to it. And I am using my Bubba knife. I love these knives. I have two of them, the 7-inch and the 9-inch. They are amazing, but very, very sharp. So, and that's also I got from Amazon. Just cut some little strips, start cutting it off, not your finger, which I'm well known to do. Actually, it needs to be where I can go through the grinder.
Yep. And as you'll see, we do use the entire pork butt for this type of thing. It's not like I'm filleting the fat off of it. We want the fat content in it, so we just cut up the whole thing, strip as much of it off the bone as possible, and that's what we grind up, and that gives the fat to the deer meat, which is, as you can see, fairly lean.
And he's a little bit quicker at it than I am. But
it's because I don't care about my fingers.
Yeah, I do care about mine. And it's still a little bit frozen, so.
Which is also fine because when you're going through the grinder, all that energy it's putting into it adds heat, so the colder this stuff is to begin with, the less it tends to turn into goo as it goes through the grinder. So a little bit frozen when you're grinding is not a bad thing, in our opinion.
And we'll show you when we get ready to start the grind. We also have an attachment that goes to the grinder that stays in the freezer. So it helps keep the arm of the tube a little bit cooler. That helps with that.
Just like Thanksgiving dinner.
And I can promise you, since we started doing this, which is about 3 years ago, when I started hunting, we've never taken our deer to a processor. We were taught by some really good people in Arkansas on how to process our own deer. And so we process our own deer, and I will never buy breakfast sausage again as long as I have deer meat. And when I do get a deer, I'm the hunter. My husband doesn't really care for it.
Boring.
So people laugh when I say I'm the one that hunts. And I'm the one that fishes, but we got to give him a break. He is a Yankee. So.
Yeah, but at least I get to buy guns and boats.
But when I do get a deer, I like steak meat. So anything that can be cut in a steak is cut in a steak. Everything else goes for grind.
Yeah, we don't tend to stew any of the deer or slow cook it. We tend to cut it up into actual, steaks, then tenderize it with a meat cuber that we have that attaches to the grinder, and then it gets fried typically. But it's, that's usually obviously the tenderloins, the inner loin, and most of the back quarters. But everything else that comes off that we don't feel is big enough to cut into a reasonable steak, like most of the front quarters, rib meat, things like that, neck meat, we'll strip as much of that as we can to just, obviously use as much of the animal as possible, and that becomes sausage. So here we are.
And if I don't look like I'm being careful and I'm cutting towards myself, I promise you I am being very careful. Because I am the klutz.
Yeah, but there are bandages and a tourniquet on standby.
Of course.
Yep.
This knife is doing really good considering this is the frozen part.
No, it's doing alright, just don't force it.
I'm not.
And that's how you'll cut yourself.
I will not.
But again, that's the nice thing about grinding all of this. It really doesn't matter how you cut it off the bone. It's all going to end up turned into sausage anyway. So, most people say you don't want to see how the sausage is made. Well, here you go.
It's not bad. I have fun making it.
Normally this is my job, but I'm holding the camera today.
Yeah. So he gets a break. And he's a lot quicker than I am because he's done this 100 times. Alright. We're getting there. Oh, you can see me. Pause it.
Alright, so Mona gave up because her hands got cold. So we're going to finish this
I
up.
did most of it.
Yeah, you did. We'll finish it up. See if I can remove a finger. It is pretty frozen.
Did you tell me don't force it?
Yeah, personally I am not a fan of these knives. But Mona does like them, and they're actually pretty good for cleaning up the deer. Once I debone it, Mona takes the meat and converts it into steaks and grind, and they're pretty darn good for that. And I prefer a little bit of a shorter knife.
Harder to get off the bone when you don't smoke it.
Yeah, that's for sure. Alright, that's pretty much it. And that would be good for a soup stock or making some broth. So, there we go. Pork is deboned.
Alright, so I have zeroed my scale out to get this bowl so that we can weigh the meat.
Tear to the scale.
So, we're starting out with 9 pounds of pork butt. We're going to start doing that. We're going to ground that on the, everything's ground on coarse first. Then we'll mix the seasoning in. And then we'll grind it again through the fine. So this is going to be pretty loud, so I'm imagining that we're probably going to fast forward through some of this. But it'd help if I plug it in.
It's called a high impedance air gap.
Yep. Okay.
Alright, again.
Now
Take 12.
Shut up. Now it's plugged in. So we're going to start with the pork. And just feed it down into the grinder so it starts taking on. It's not as loud as I thought.
No. The key with all of this stuff, the cheapest piece we've got here is probably the grinder. It's the, I guess, middle of the road, heavier duty Cabela's version. It's, I would say, certainly not industrial, but it's not a Walmart special. It probably weighs 40 pounds, so it's pretty stout, but it's got a pretty good duty cycle. I have not been able to overheat it yet, which is saying something. And we put a lot of meat through it, so.
And having something long for it to go in helps because it does tend to spit it out. You'll have it all over the floor.
Which is why the supervisor's sitting in the other room waiting.
Let's get some. I forgot, I'm going to get my piece that goes on the grinder. So this stays in the freezer and it goes on the grinder after I wash it. Fits on like that. Probably not going to be able to strap it. I'll hold it, you strap it. Because I have, my hands are greasy. There we go.
Yeah,
And that just fits on like that. So it keeps the meat a little cooler while you're working with it, because you don't want it to get warm. And if you get a piece like that, that is, I didn't cut up fine enough, I'm going to need the other knife.
Give me one.
Oh, never mind, I can do it this way.
Obviously try to not stick your hands into the meat grinder.
That's what this is for, that I never use. Actually, I do use it when we go to doing the...
It really matters when you're actually doing the fine grind and then the sausage stuffing. It really matters. We're not going to be stuffing this because this is just a breakfast sausage. It's not cured, but we'll be doing some summer sausage next week. And that definitely requires some stuffing.
Wash up my hands, and then we're going to weigh up the deer meat and get our ratio correct. we're gonna need about 13 pounds of meat with our 9 pounds of beef fat.
Pork butt. Beef fat's
pork butt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got a ways to go. A little bit more. Another handful or two. Ain't gonna hurt it. It's probably pretty good.
Oh, I got a little bit less, so I'm gonna go ahead and throw that in.
Just throw it in, it'll be fine.
It doesn't have to be exact.
You do want a fair bit of fat in it though, so
Yeah.
you can kind of see the fat to lean ratio there. It's pretty good. So we ended up probably about 14 pounds of deer meat to go with it. And yeah, if you're setting up your own kitchen, try not to trip over the cords because we're idiots, so don't do what we're doing here.
Thanks a lot.
That's what's funny.
Okay. Now we're gonna grind in the deer.
Same procedure, do everything on coarse to start with. At least that's how we do it.
As long as you do small pieces, it pretty much feeds itself down through there. Until you get to the end, and then you'll have to use the little handle to push it through.
We've seen people suggest that at the end you throw some bread through it and push the rest of the meat out. And we've tried that, and all that does is just pack the whole thing solid with bread and really doesn't save you all that much. So we typically don't bother with that. You might lose an ounce or two of meat at the end when you have to go clean it, but it doesn't really amount to much, and you end up getting some bread in with your sausage. Whenever you store your pusher, absolutely stick it into the ground meat handle first.
Right.
Other way around.
There we go.
Let a vapor lock.
Do what?
Let a vapor lock.
Almost done. Put it right in there. Okay, we're gonna clean up the area a little bit and come back in a few minutes with the mixture and grind it again. And we're back. We've ground all the deer meat and all the pork butt coarse. Now we're gonna add the seasoning. Again, we're using the Backwoods breakfast sausage seasoning. We have a little bit more than 25 pounds altogether. This bag calls for 25 pounds, but we always add extra because I find it's kind of bland with if you just do one bag. So we're going to go ahead and use 2 bags of this. You put your seasoning in a bowl with 4 cups of water. Should have got a bigger bowl, but that's okay, we'll make it work. And take a whisk and mix it in. And you want to make sure you use cold water because you don't want to pour warm water into the meat. Get that nice and stirred up. And by the way, I always cover my table with towels because I have a really bad habit of just laying stuff on the table like that. So, before I make any deer meat or deer sausage, summer sausage, whatever, I always line it with towels. You pour this all over the meat. And it looks like a lot, but it soaks it up. This is where the gloves come in, because this gets rather cold. And this is a little overkill for gloves, but they're pretty thick, so. And you just mix it all together. Incorporate the seasoning into all of it, the fat into the deer meat. Alright, so you incorporate all the fat with the deer meat, all the seasoning. And I just fold it over like you're kneading bread. It takes a while to get it all incorporated. And usually by this point I'm whisked out and having Aaron finish mixing it.
Which I'm sure will happen off camera.
But since this is my video, kind of gotta have to do it all.
We'll fix it in post.
Yeah. Okay. Once you get everything incorporated in there, then we're gonna switch over and grind this again. Alright. In order to grind it again, I shouldn't have took my gloves off yet. I'm going to put it in a different bowl, because this is our mixing contraption. And it's going to get cold. Alright. So, I'm going to put this in another bowl. Let me go wash off my gloves and we'll be right back. Alright, we're back. Now we're going to change the size of the grinder. This is the medium one. This is the coarse one. So we're going to take that off. Leave that in there.
Yep, it'll grind. It's all gonna get mixed again anyway.
Okay. Put the new grinding blade on. So click in. Just like that.
No. Oh yeah, the notch has to go at the bottom.
Oh.
Yep. Like you're supposed to. Technical difficulties. Back in a minute.
Alright.
Oh, okay. So, my mistake. The coarse and the superfine came with the machine and they both fit. At the time, I bought the medium one X separate, and it is too big in diameter to actually go on, and I forgot that because we haven't done this since last year. So I need to put this on a drill and grind the ends down to make it the right size. But we've always used the fine grind at this point. So that's what we're doing, and on with the show. Righty tighty, lefty loosey.
Yeah, I know.
Don't cross thread it.
I know.
When in doubt, apply excessive force.
You just said don't cross thread it and then apply excessive force. See, I'm more patient than you because I just keep doing it till I get it right without breaking it.
Yeah, but I only do it once and get it right.
Shut up. Okay.
Alright, onward.
So, now I need a spatula.
It's in the bowl.
Oh,
for the 75th time.
Shut up. Alright, so we're going to grind this all fine. Ooh, can't pick that up.
Yeah, it's rather heavy. You want a glove? And you can see this is kind of a hamburger grind, so it's going to work really well for breakfast sausage.
3 hours later. This is where I use this to push it through.
Yep. So you can kind of see what the deal is here. We're going to get all of this ground, and then we will be back to do the final mix and the portion. Alright, well now that we have finished grinding all of that, and I didn't get a spoon stuck in the auger this time, which is pleasant, we are about to do a little bit more cleaning and then mix this all again by hand and then package it into 1 pound bags and vacuum seal it. So those are the next steps.
Alright, we're back. So we've got everything ground fine. You want to give it a good mix once again, just to make sure that all of the seasoning is incorporated into all of the meat. You don't want to lose your glove in the process. This gets pretty sticky at this point. There we go. So you make sure that it's all ground up. It's all mixed up. And at this point, I can't do this, so we're going to go back to the old-fashioned way. It gets really sticky.
It's still good and cold, but the fine grind just makes it like you're dealing with a raw hamburger type stuff. So
yeah, I'll get it all mixed in. Oh, this is smelling good.
Yeah, it smells good.
What you can do, and what we did at the beginning, when you mix your seasoning, once you get it to this stage, you can just take and make a small patty, fry it up, taste it, make sure you have the right amount of seasoning in it for your taste. Deer meat is hard to season for some reason.
For us, anyway.
I found even when I'm just frying it that it takes a lot of seasoning to be able to taste the seasoning. Okay. Now I'm going to clean up, go wash my hands, and then we will come back for the final step. Alright, now we're ready to package it. As I said earlier in the video, I use the quart-sized bags that are pre-cut for the seal saver. If I'm making the breakfast sausage for us here at the house, I do it in 1 pound bags. If I'm making it for the deer camp, I make it in 2 pound bags. Because if any of you have ever been in deer camp, you know we like to eat. And shout out to my favorite cook and fellow member, Ronnie, because he knocks it out of the park every time. Anyway, so I digress. Back to the bags. So I go ahead and I fill them out, and I put breakfast sausage, the date, and how many pounds is on it. In it. And then we weigh each bag. And what I do so that it seals properly and it doesn't get all up in the top seal is I take the top of the bag and I fold it in. And I'm better with this when I'm long.
Basically make a cuff.
Yeah, you just want to make a cuff so that it doesn't get on the top sealing part. And then I use my spatula.
Or your hands.
Or your hands, either one. I like the spatula because I've already cleaned my hands and I don't want to do it again. just over a pound. So I know the bag's not full, but when I go to seal it, it makes it easier for storage.
First thing you want to do, this is our new...
Oh yeah, I haven't used this.
Yeah.
I haven't used this one yet.
Try to get that out of there.
It's not going to matter because it's going to seal up here.
Okay. This baby's got its own dedicated fan, so all you have to do for this one, this is where it seals, right here.
Oh, that's where it seals?
Yep. So put it like that, close it, push go.
It's sealed up. Now, what I do is I take it and I smash it down to where the bag is flat. This helps two different things. The first thing is it thaws out really easy. If you just take this out and stick it in a bowl of cold water, 5 minutes it'll be thawed out. Secondly, when I get ready to put it in the deep freeze, it stacks better and I can put more in it. And that's basically it.
What we're going to do now is finish up the rest of it. Once we get it stacked, once we get it all done, we'll come back, show you how much we made, and then we'll sign it up.
That sounds like a plan. Alright guys, this is the last step. We have finished everything. We've got it in bags now. We ended up with 27.5 pounds of breakfast sausage. We're going to stack it in the freezer, and that's a wrap.
Yep, if you got any questions, please post them in the comments. We'll be sure to get back to you as soon as we can. My wife's just started this new channel, so if you like kind of what you're seeing here, we're going to be doing some more of it. Please subscribe and hit the bell notification so you can get notified when we actually put up some more content, which hopefully we'll be doing fairly frequently. And other than that, hope you're all having a good day.
Have a good night.
Take care. Talk to y'all later.